What's up, everyone? Free to play gaming here again. Doing a little Summer's War video, a little fun in-game channel here. I'm in channel 5001, and you are all being recorded. Be nice. So, in this episode, if you want to call these episodes, Kibler just asked me if I could take a look at his monster. So I want to let you guys know that this is available for anybody to do. So if you would like some help with your monsters, maybe you'll find somebody who's not AFK in this channel and willing to take a look at your monsters and give you some tips. There's tons of people with great advice here, and they've helped out multiple times, which is really awesome. So I'm going to help Kibler out here. We're going to take a look at his team, and maybe you guys will learn a little something from... Okay, so let's see here. You can click View More and see what his current arena setup team is. I don't know. This looks like his defense team. So hopefully this is the same as his offense team. So it looks like he's got Megan, Wind Shimite, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's got a Wind armor. It's not Mystic armor. What is it? I don't even remember. The Wind armor. I always call it Mystic armor. And he's got the Light Bear Man here. So this is a pretty solid defense team in my opinion, especially if this Wind armor is high level. I've seen these things be extremely difficult to kill. So with the Megan doing her buffs early, hopefully this is a super high speed monster. We'll take a look at the runes here in a second. And the Wind Shemite doing her shield buff. And then the Wind Bear Man, hopefully he's doing some critical damage attacks, restoring hit points for the rest of the team, making him very hard to kill as well. Hopefully he's got some hit point and critical runes. And this guy, hopefully he's just got mass hit points, I'm thinking. I don't know the correct rune setup for him, for the armor guy, right offhand. So, okay. See, that's cool. He's adding everybody to his friends list. So I suggest you guys do the same. Let's all get together. Let's add all the people in our friends list. And real quick here, let's go over the guild. There's a ton of people on the wait list for the guild now. I removed one person from this wait list. So, whoops. Let's see if I can't get this lined up properly here. Ugh. Stupid Microsoft Excel. Okay. So we added Greg. He was #1 in line. So welcome to the guild, Greg. Cornerman's next. And then maybe, hopefully, you'll see your name on this list here. If you don't see your name on this list and you're interested in joining the guild, shoot me a comment on this video and I will get you added to this list. But you can already see 50 members. So unless Com2US does something amazing and increases the maximum guild size by 50, it's gonna, you guys are gonna be waiting a while. If they just increase it by 10 or 20, I'd be happy, and then we could get some more people in the guild here. But like I've mentioned before, the guild serves no purpose right now. You don't get any buffs from being in the guild. There's no donations. There's no way to level up the guild. The only purpose of it is for the chat system, which is significantly lacking right now in Summoner's War. That's why we are all in channel 5001. The guild chat is basically the same, except your text turns out green as a normal chat. So 5001, that's the best way for us to communicate here. Lots of communication going on here. So let's take a look at Kibler again. We're going to go visit him and see some of his monsters. But it looks like he's got a pretty good grasp on the game and some of the good monsters that he should be using. It looks like he's already got that set up pretty well. So we're going to make this pretty quick. And then I'm going to go over one of my characters. I'm going to hopefully 5-star and awaken my Water Phantom Thief into Lure. It's okay, he's got a 5-star Megan here. Let's take a look at these runes. He's got Swift and Energy. That's good. Good stuff there. This is the most important rune right here. +7. Get this +12 as soon as possible. This is very important that your Megan is as fast as possible. And if you have a 5-star or a 6-star speed rune, put that on here as well. In my previous videos, I mentioned that 3-star and 4-star runes are kind of preferable to 5-star runes, and that's because they're easier to power up. They take less mana stones to power them up, and if it's a percent rune, you're still only gaining 2% each level. So the difference between a 3-star and 5-star is very low if it's a percent rune. That's not the case with these plus runes. So plus speed, plus attack, plus defense. This is plus defense. So a 5-star rune is going to give you significantly more here, and same with speed here. So 5-star speed, if you get one of those, which you should be able to do if you farm the boss for, I forget exactly, it's the Chimera boss. If you farm, I believe that's the one with the Swift runes. If you farm him in Hell mode, which isn't that difficult to do, you should be able to eventually get your hands on a 5-star speed rune here. I suggest that and get that speed rune at least to plus 12. Megan is super important, especially in Arena. If you can get maximum speed on your Megan, that's going to increase. You're going to see a huge increase, probably like you're going to go up 100 rank at least, just by having your Megan go first all the time. Can't emphasize that enough. So, Acasis here. I don't have a lot of experience with this monster, but let's take a look. Speed as well, that's great. Energy, good. You might want to put a speed rune here, because you definitely want your Acasis to go soon. It's important that your Acasis gets off that buff, which would be the force field here. Creates a shield that absorbs it. The inflicted damage proportionate to your level for all allies for 3 turns. Decreases the chance of being attacked with a critical hit for the allies. So this is important that this skill gets cast early in arena fights as well. So for the rune, I would suggest putting a speed rune here. But other than that, Swift looks good. Defense here, I don't know. I try to stick with, this is okay for your defense team, hit points and everything, but I would still like to see speed here. So pretty good there. Let's see, that's a 5-star rune. Those aren't as important. Those always come standard. This one's always going to be hit points. This one's always going to be defense. And this one's always going to be attack plus. So that looks good. Let's see what you got for your Raruk here. You got Fatal Blade, good choice. Violent is also a good choice. Violent Blade. Attack percent, critical rate. So 36% critical rate here. This could go attack percent too. And I'm seeing a lot of +9, +7. Get this definitely to +9. I would go +12 on. These are super important. So what I'm seeing here is you have a +12 Fatal Rune, which is a 5-star. This is a good rune. I'm glad to see it's +12. But this really should have taken priority. The attack +18%, especially seeing as how it's a 3-star. It's not going to cost you too much to get this to +12. I think this is a priority here. Now, I wouldn't even bother upgrading these runes to, if you get a better one, see, I would probably make this attack percent too, but this is okay. I would definitely have it power it up at least a little bit. Right now it's not doing anything for you. So this monster is going to help you a lot in dungeons for all players. So definitely, get some attack percent runes, get those at least to +9, and then put this guy in your team for dungeons, and he's going to power through those dungeons, especially the low level ones, quite easily, and that's because he's got the passive skill here. I've talked about this enough times. Get an extra turn if you kill the enemy. And also his main attack has a 30% chance to attack again, so he can wipe out any monster if you get lucky enough. So, okay, so you got a Dark Phantom Thief. That's a good monster. I assume you got that from Hall of Heroes when that was out. Increase the attack power of allied monsters in the arena by 33%. That's his leader skill. This is a pretty good leader skill. I definitely suggest a speed leader skill, but I'm not seeing any speed leaders. What is his leader skill? He doesn't have one. Oh yeah, he does if you awaken him. So in the high level arenas battles, I'm seeing a lot of resistance, and I don't know how important resistance is once you start getting into like the 1700, 1800 ranks. Uh, I'm sure it's very important because it keeps the stuns off of the monsters, but I don't know if using a leader skill with plus resistance is going to be super important. But this is plus 40 resistance in arena fights, so this could be a good leader skill too. So it looks like you're working on him. You have the 5-star Tagaros here. This is a mediocre monster. I don't use mine anymore. I had the same type of 5-star monster here. So actually, I would probably not level this guy anymore. If I were you, you have enough good monsters here. I would use Megan on your offense team. I'd use Megan. I'd use your Acasis. I'd use your Rauk. And I'd probably throw on your strongest Phantom Thief, which looks like your Dark Phantom Thief here. And for his runes here, okay, looks like he got Despair Focus. Oh no, he got Rage. That's interesting. Okay. So I don't even know his skills that well. Let's read through him here. His passive increases your critical rate by 20% and decreases the chances of receiving a critical hit by 50%. Okay. So he has 20% more critical rate, and he doesn't take critical hits very much. You know, he's got a passive to eliminate those critical hits. Attacks with a 30% critical rate bonus and stuns the enemy if the attack lands a critical hit. Oh, he doesn't have an AoE attack. I thought he had an AoE attack. Okay, so that makes him a little bit less useful. Now let's take a look at this guy here. Does he not have AoE either? He doesn't. That's interesting, and I don't have a Fire Phantom Thief myself. I actually fed my Fire Phantom Thief to my Wind Phantom Thief, and people said, oh, that's big no-no, Fire Phantom Thief is awesome. And I could see why he's awesome. Increases your attack power by 50% when your hit points is higher than 50%. So right off the bat, your Fire Phantom Thief is a super strong monster. So you're going to want to throw, of course, attack percent runes in here. Yep. Good stuff. I'm not sure about the crit rate. It looks like might not be a bad choice because this has a crit rate bonus and stuns if you get a critical hit. So if you're going for single target stuns, yeah, this is a good skill. But in arena, you know, AoE stuns are super good. They're super important. So it looks like you got a pretty good handle on it. For this guy, I probably would make him as high of attack as possible. Try to get some 6-star runes. If you threw 6-star attack percent runes here, this guy would just be a huge powerhouse. He'd be one-shotting stuff everywhere, especially wind monsters. This guy would be my worst nightmare. So it's cool seeing some of these different monsters and reading some of their skills here. It's a good way to learn more about the game. So helping out people will help your game as well. So don't be afraid, even if you feel like you don't have that much experience in the game. People who are asking questions probably have less experience than you, so anything you can help them out in the channel with is a huge benefit to both of you. You're both going to be benefiting from it. So this seems like the general Phantom Thief attack. Looking at some of the other monsters here, Saik, I would stop working on him just because you have a good 5-star Megan here. This is vitally important. If you don't have a Megan, Saik is a good second choice because of the buffs that he gives. And he's just generally a good attack monster. The problem with him is he's pretty easy to kill as well. So if you can't wipe out or stun the entire board in arena the first round without them letting them get attacks off, your Saik's going to be in trouble here. He's probably going to get killed, and if he didn't get his buffs off, that's going to leave you extremely vulnerable. So that's why Megan is such a better choice. And Saik, he's got attacks here, so you don't want to, throw your Swift runes on and make his buffs not as good as what Megan does for you. So he's a good character until you can get this Megan, but it shouldn't be too difficult for people to get these Megans. They're not that rare. I've gotten quite a few Water Mystic Witches in my summons. You can get them just from Unknown Scrolls if you're lucky enough. It's a 3-star monster. So a lot of people have been recommended to use Ramagos here, and I think this is an overrated monster, in my opinion. Its main thing that sets it apart is Clean Shot here. And this is actually a 2-star natural monster, so his general stats just aren't quite as strong as even any other 3-star monster. He's going to have just slightly less in his stats, and Clean Shot's what sets him apart. Attacks an enemy, inflicting the amount of hit points you've lost as damage. You gain an extra turn if the enemy dies. So Clean Shot here, especially if you get the cooldown, it's reusable every 2 turns. So if he gets beat up, when it comes his turn to attack, he gives all the hit points that he's taken back to another monster. So you're relying on him not getting stunned. You're relying on him not getting killed in one round before it's time for him to attack again. And this Clean Shot's only good one time. So I just think he's unreliable, in my opinion. I think he's overrated. I think he's a good monster, but I don't think I don't really recommend him. That's just my personal opinion and the way that I like to play the game and make these teams. So it looks like you have a lot of good monsters you're bringing into the field here. You got Light Bear Man here. He's highly recommended because of his... I don't have one. I should probably get one. But his passive recovers allies by 12% of his maximum hit points if you get a critical hit. So hit points and critical hits are very important for this Light Bear Man Amen. Yeah, he's a pretty cool monster, especially when you're doing like Tower of Ascension. This is why he's highly recommended. If you have his critical rate really high, and 45% is not really high, you could probably do better on this, but hit points are also super important for this character, so you kind of got to get a good balance here. These are both very important stats for this character. But Bearman can heal your whole team while he's doing attacks. So if you're doing like Tower of Ascension, it's kind of like a reliable hit point management source. So people who are having problems with Tower of Ascension, maybe think about getting a 5-star Light Bear Man with hit points and critical rate. That should probably really help you out in defeating the levels, the floors that you can't defeat right now. So Fire Viking, I need to get one of these and work on it. I've actually fused quite a few of them away before I realized how useful he is for dragons. So this is already taking a long time. I was going to go over your monsters real quick, but I got kind of involved looking at some of these monsters' skills. So my recommendation, I guess, I'm not seeing a AoE stunner except maybe your Tagaros here. So I don't really want to recommend that you go Despair Focus on your Tagaros because he's only a 3-star and he's so squishy anyways, but you need to get an AoE stunner monster, would be my suggestion. So, I don't know, does this character have a AoE attack? Is this AoE? Hits all enemies with a twister. Oh, very cool. So for the runes for this, you definitely want her to go first. But you also, it'd be nice if you could turn her... There's 2 ways to rune her, actually, is what I'm thinking. Swift Energy, because you want her to go first and get her buff off. But if you weren't going to go with her buff, if you wanted to instead go for stuns, you could cast this on all the enemies, and you could rune her with a Despair Focus. So that's another possibility, but I'm not going to recommend that. I think you have it runed properly right here with Swift Energy. Yurauk, that can be a good arena character. This is going to be a good arena character, but I'm disappointed to see that it doesn't have an AoE attack. So there's a lot of... You could probably incorporate your Undyne here somehow. Let's see, I think this is an AoE attack. So here's an AoE attack here, and you have full energy runes on your Fire Undyne. But what you could do with this monster, which probably be a good choice, is switch out these runes for Despair Focus. That would give you a 25% chance to stun all monsters, and you would lead off with this attack. Attacks all enemies with a Swirling Fire Hurricane. So this could be a good chance to stun the other team's monsters. It might not be quite as effective, especially if you don't have a speed leader. So if you're using Megan's leader skill, which is still a decent leader skill, but it's not speed. Increases the attack power of monsters in the arena. So that's decent, but it's not a speed leader skill. So hopefully you'll get some good AoE stunning monsters, such as Julian, Lucian. Lucian's like just huge attack though, but you could definitely use him as a stunning monster as well. Or the Fire Pierre, that's a good stunning monster. The Water Phantom Thief, he's got an AoE attack, which I'm going to use as a stunning attack. So let's go back here. We'll go back to my home here. A lot of people talking. I'm not really going to read through it right now. But let's take a look at my monsters real quick. This is going to be a long video. So here's some good choices. This is a very important monster. This is one of my favorite monsters actually right now, and I have him ruined with a Despair Focus. This is what I'm talking about, the stun rate. So if you get and she's also my leader with a plus speed leader skill. So that's pretty important too. And then my Phantom Thief, he used to be ruined with a Despair Focus, and since then I went with a Fatal Blade with all attack percent runes. And he's just a super powerhouse. He does more damage than any of my other monsters. So Clara here, who's the Fire Pierre, Despair Focus as well. We got attack percent runes here, and she's got a 25% chance to stun with an AoE attack. So let's do a couple arena fights just to show what I recommend for these builds, and this is kind of the current meta of the game, which is pretty much the reason that Drago quit playing this game a few days ago and went to a Loon Saga, is because this game is just not very... Here, we'll just beat up on Greedy real quick. This is going to be super fast. But the game's kind of unbalanced right now. If you don't have a speed leader team with stuns, and stuns aren't necessarily the absolute best, but a speed leader team, he who attacks first usually ends up winning these fights. So my Megan's always attacking first, super fast Megan. I cast a buff, come over here with an AoE attack. This has a chance to stun, so I get one stun off here. Then my Julian gets to attack. He's just gonna do some massive damage. As you can see, tons of damage. And he's also got a stunning chance with that attack. My Clara comes up here and wipes the floor with more stuns and more AoE attack. So my Clara might actually be taking a back seat here pretty soon to Lucian, the Wind Joker. Actually, very soon I'm thinking about making that change. So let's do some higher level arena fights. So what I like to look for when I'm going through these arena lists are low rank and a lower level. Pick on the weak first so that you get buffs, which will help you kill some of the stronger people on this list. So right now I'm seeing this, so I want to take a look at this team. Okay, so this isn't a team to really joke with. There's a 6-star Tyrant here, which is a speed leader as well. Not as high of a speed as my Wind Shemite. But, he's dangerous to me. He freezes my monsters. And it's just, it hurts a lot. But I think my Megan's gonna be able to take this team fairly easily. So let's see. Just having my Megan go first. And when she casts that buff, it also increases all my other monsters' attack bars by 20%. So then they get to go next. So You can kind of see by the percentage of these attack bars, my Megan's full. She's going to go next. And then these two monsters are just about full too. And you can see, so they're definitely speed monsters as well. And you can see that my Wind Shymite would be next in order, and then my Julian probably. So watch what happens when I cast this Megan buff. That fills up 20% of all the bars. So all my team members now have full bars. So that's part of the reason that makes Megan so important to go first. So okay, let's kick this off the same way that I always do. Try to get some stuns here. If not stuns, we're getting some damage. Okay, let's do some more damage here. There, we got 3 stuns. See how powerful this Julian is? This Wind Phantom Thief? He's just awesome. He stunned everybody, killed one of them, and just maimed the rest. So they didn't even get to attack me. So that's the power of the speed team right there. And that was a 1400 ranked person. So they didn't have a junky team. Let's see if we can't do this again. Yeah, we got level 40 people all the way across the board pretty much. Let's take a look at Lorax here though, level 38. Okay, I'm not too scared of this team actually. I think this is not a speed leader. The leader skill for Chloe here is going to be the defense plus 27%. So we got 1 6-star Wind Chimera here. This is their buffing monster, which is it's an option. You know, if she's gonna cast this buff, if she gets to go, increase the attack power and defense of allies for 3 turns, which is similar to Megan's, but this one's 3 turns. Megan's is only 2, but Megan also increases the attack bar of all allied monsters by 20%. So that's why Megan is a better choice. Plus, she's a natural 3-star. The Pixie's a natural 2-star. But the Pixie's also a choice, kind of in the same league as the Fire Hellhound Saik. So those are both. You could go with either of those monsters if you're looking for one to do the buffs for you. So I get to go first here. This is very important. Hopefully I can kill that Pixie before she can even cast the buff. Okay, so that pretty much just maimed their team by killing the Pixie before they get the benefit of that buff. So my Claire's coming in, kind of wiping up here.